Hey everybody, Chris Raygun here. Welcome to another Sacred Symbols Let's Play, and this time I am once again all by my lonesome, because we are doing the Medievil short-lived demo. And of course this was most recently announced at the State of Play for October. And I gotta say right off the bat, I'm gonna be real with you guys, I am a huge fan of the original Medieval and Medieval 2. I think Medieval 2 is a far better game, but like, man, the original two Medievals by SEE Cambridge for the PlayStation 1 back in the late 90s were such good fucking video games. I can't even begin to... I don't even know how long I can really gush about it before it becomes annoying, but I really loved these games. What they did, especially with the tone. These games are so strange. They're like a Tim Burton gothic horror comedy, and they did something really special back in the day that, honestly, I don't really think is done all that well today, or hasn't really been done all that much. And that is just give you a game that's really solid, that's really quirky and really funny, but not in like a Borderlands-y kind of over-the-top way, more in like a very subtle kind of British way. Like, there's a lot of comedy and gloom in just the way the lines are delivered a lot of the times. And I was really kind of worried about this remake when I first heard about it, because my first assumption was, oh my god, they're going to redo all the lines, because that's what they've done with the Crash Team Racing remake, that's what they've done with, you know, the original Crash trilogy, the Insane trilogy, that's what they did with the Spyro Reignited trilogy. They redid a lot of the lines, and I was genuinely worried that a new cast of characters and a new interpretation of the way that these lines were meant to be read back when they were written could fuck the tone entirely, because it's so specific. And there's a cast of gargoyles in this game that I love, that I would have been absolutely gutted had they been recast. And I'm happy to say that if they have been recast, or if they got the old actors to redo the lines, it sounds absolutely identical to how I recall it sounding. And that is the highest praise I can give to a game that did such a great job, not necessarily with its gameplay, but with its world building and with its tone. So I'm very happy to report that tonally, it is exactly what I wanted. And they did make some quality of life improvements to the gameplay. I think it handles a bit better. We'll skip this intro cutscene because, I mean, this is a free demo. You guys can just download this shit and see this on your own. But man, they did a really great job here capturing the mood of Medieval. And that was my biggest concern going in. It definitely doesn't have quite as much polish as the Spyro remakes do, or as much as Crash Team Racing does, or as much as the Insane trilogy does. I do feel like this is maybe a little bit more of a standard remake when it comes to, you know, how they've translated it gameplay-wise. We might get to a point where there's some weird, janky animations. That could just be the demo. I assume the demo was probably done before the game went gold, so I assume it's not necessarily representative of the final build, but we'll just start a new game here. Again, this is exactly as it was in the original. The stupid skeleton with his dumb little hand. Even the laugh that he does, man, and the fadeaways, it's all here, and it's all exactly how I wanted it. This is kind of a short cutscene, so we'll just go around. So what this game is, it's essentially a gothic horror comedy hack and slash. I don't want to say it's a Soulsborne, because it's really not. It's not that hard, at least as far as the combat goes. The combat, I think a lot of the challenge from this game came from the puzzles. But there's our hero, Daniel Fortesque, who is heralded as the great hero of Gallowmere, revered in the history of this town for taking down this evil sorcerer. And you find out immediately that all of his valor is completely undeserved, because he was the first person to die. He did fucking nothing. And the whole game is basically about this hero who has received undeserved reverence, trying to basically earn that reverence now that he's been brought back from the dead, and he's the only one around to stop the sorcerer now that he's returned. That's the basic setup of the story. And I always loved that kind of... There's something very British about that. There's something very mundane, and, you know, the hero is a pathetic loser, which is very much in keeping with things like The Office. Oh, here he is.
Again, Sir Daniel Fortesque, see? the hero of Gallowmere who fell at the first charge. The fog of war and the shrouds of time conspire to turn the arrow fodder into the saviour of the day. But we knows better.
God damn, I love these voice actors. They sound so cool. There's something they're creepy in a weird way. You know, they're not scary.
Noble truth, a chance to defeat Sarok and live up to the legend. We hopes it does well.
It's just something so inherently unnerving about the way they deliver their lines, and I was so worried that they were gonna, get a new cast of characters or just fuck with it, because they did do that in the PSP version. There's a PSP remake of the first Medieval. Avoid it at all costs. It's the worst fucking thing. It's a travesty. They really messed it up. The camera is inverted. I am personally not a fan of that. I know Colin is, because he's got severe problems. But so this is the game. It is a hack and slash. You can take your own arm off and beat people to death with it. You can also throw it like a boomerang and it'll come back to you, because you have the benefits of playing a dead man. And this is our hero, Sir Daniel Fortesque, the Jawless Wonder. I fucking love this character design. I loved it as a kid, and I think it holds up really well now. We've got some throwing knives. We've got a rune that we will use to open chests. And I believe we're about to get a shield, which we can block attacks with. And we got our sword, which we can charge up to do a spin attack, which rotates his top half and not his legs, which is always something very charming about the original game. Now these books that are laced around here give you kind of tutorials about what everything is, but I've played this game already, and I've played this demo already a couple times, so we're just gonna breeze on through it. If you want to read those, feel free to go right ahead. But yeah, man, this is like a huge thing for me. Like, this is a game that I did not anticipate would ever get a remake. Like, I thought eventually Crash Bandicoot would absolutely get a fucking remake. I thought absolutely the Spyro games would get remakes. I thought absolutely Crash Team Racing is such a good game, there must be an audience for it. I wasn't sure that there was going to be a Crash Team Racing remake, but I had my hopes up, and there was. But Medieval was one of those things that I kind of always asked for in complete jest. I never once thought that we would get this, because I just thought it was such a niche game. I don't remember a lot of people talking about it back when I was a kid. I don't remember really many people talking about it at all. So, like, I was so shocked to hear about this. But it plays more or less like the original. It's definitely not as clunky. PS1 games are kind of notorious for having controls that have not quite aged as well as some other generations of consoles. Definitely not as well as the the 2D era of game consoles on stuff like the SNES and the NES prior. The PS1 was the first foray into 3D, so it was kind of an awkward time for game design because people didn't quite know what the hell they were doing. So moving around in a 3D space, especially early on using just the D-pad, which you can do in this game if you choose, was just kind of weird, and the original Medieval definitely felt a little stunted in that regard, but I will say that it feels far more clean and far more responsive here than it did in the original. That might fuck with you if you have like a specific kind of muscle memory for the original, but I don't think it's all that distracting. I think it's better, to be completely honest. You've obviously got this camera that you can change to. You swap weapons with triangle. And this little wisp that follows you around helps you target your enemies. Whoop. Oh, shit. But yeah, it plays... I think it's translated the original language or the original gameplay styles of the original Medieval pretty damn well. I'm actually shocked that this plays really well, because I never necessarily regarded the original Medieval as a game that was necessarily great on the gameplay front. I always was more in love with the themes and the kind of tone and the feelings that I got when I played it. I felt unsettled and amused. And that's such a rare combination of things, especially when you're young and everything kind of scares you. you know, I fell more in love with the tone and the atmosphere of this game than I did with the gameplay, but I'm actually super happy to say that the gameplay feels really good. I think it obviously doesn't feel as good as like something like Dark Souls or Sekiro necessarily, because obviously it's still the DNA of a very, very old game, but I think it plays pretty well for a hack and slash, and it's not as easy as I thought it would be. I actually genuinely died. I died at least once. Okay, so we can't pick up this chalice yet. You can pick up that chalice and take it to the Hall of Heroes and claim a crazy weapon, but you can only get that chalice once you've killed every enemy in the stage, which sounds easy, and I guess it technically is. I mean, it's not super hard, but you know, it's a little thing. It's a little thing extra that you can do, and it's definitely worth doing. I love the music in this game, man. The music of Medieval is some of the most underrated music I think I have ever heard in anything. I think people overlook it a lot when they talk about incredible video game soundtracks, because there is some incredible Elfman quality stuff here, like John Williams level shit. Like really great melodies. I'm probably gonna die. Oh my god, and I didn't get the life bottle in the tutorial room. This might be a problem. Okay, so we're gonna have to use my shield. Oh shit. I fucking actually died. I didn't get the life bottle in the tutorial in the fucking tutorial room. This is embarrassing. I am also talking and playing, mind you, and the game is on mute. So I am talking about the soundtrack purely as I recall it from the previous times I've played the demo, but man, ooh, such a good fucking game. Okay, we'll do this shit again. I feel like an idiot. I can't believe I died. That's so embarrassing. The shield can break, by the way, if I'm recalling this correctly. So you're gonna wanna be careful. Am I out of throwing knives? Do I not have throwing knives? Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, no, I don't want my arm. My arm is funny, but it's not effective. Okay, so we got the rune, so now we can head up. I'm being real with you guys, man. I fucking adore this game. Okay, so it looks like the shield doesn't really deflect damage so much as it just sort of absorbs it, or absorbs a majority of it. Ooh boy. You can charge up the knives also, by the way. I think every weapon has a secondary fire, which is pretty neat. We got the chaos rune. I can't believe I died. I feel like a damn fool. These little hands, by the way, that are crawling around, in the second one, you can take your head off and put it on the wrist of those hands, and you can crawl into like really small spaces, which is just one of the reasons why I love Medieval 2 so much. Man, this is a lot. Fuck. Okay, hold on. Okay. Get some health at this health pool fountain. There's something so magical about seeing this. I do wonder how the puzzle solving will translate to a new generation of players, because I remember the puzzles being kind of hard. I might have just been a dumb kid, but like I think it's entirely... There we go, we got a life bottle. But it might be entirely possible that this game may be a tad... Oh, shit! Might be a tad unforgiving for new players. Because I recall I recall actually kind of having a tough time. Alright, let's clear out the enemies up here, I believe. Oh, so that's the kind of thing that I was talking about when I was talking about how the gameplay isn't quite as polished as the Crash and Spyro games. What, do you see how, like, as I crawl up the stairs here, how it's a bit, you know, I kind of jolt up the stairs a little bit. It's a bit awkward. It doesn't feel like a stylistic choice, you know what I mean? It just feels kind of... It feels kind of... And that camera right there. Acting wonky. I remember the camera being a problem in the original, but it's definitely way better here. It's nothing terrible. It's not gonna, like, make the game, you know, unplayable. But it is worth noting that I do think the Crash and Spyro games are a bit more competently crafted. But I do think they've done something special here. They capture the tone so well, man. I guess a lot of that it does come down to the fact that they didn't change anything, which I don't know how much you can commend a dev for not doing extra work, but I appreciate the restraint because quite frankly with these remakes, with a lot of these remakes, I feel like I admire the restraint in, you know, the attitudes of a lot of devs who feel like we can make the tone better, and it's like, no, you really can't. You can't. The tone of you know, of the original Crash Team Racing is far better than the remaster. As good as the remaster is. Like, I love Crash Team Racing. It's probably my favorite game of the fucking generation. That might be an exaggeration, but I also don't. I feel like it's probably not. All right, we're just gonna get this chalice here so we can claim a reward at the Hall of Heroes. Ooh-wee, we've got a Hall of Heroes award waiting for us. So we've just got to... Yeah, so that means we've killed all the enemies, so we got the chalice. I believe this game is how I learned what the word chalice meant. Which is useless trivia for you, but accurate. I think in Medieval 2 there was a run. So it's kind of weird that the run isn't here. I think you used it by double tapping the direction on the D-pad. So it's weird that that's not present, but... Yeah, so this is Medieval, and that's the end of the demo. It really is just the first introductory level and the tutorial mission where Dan wakes up. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied. I'm not expecting a AAA game here. I'm just expecting something that reminds me of why I loved Medieval, and it seems like that's exactly what I'm getting.
Tread softly. Zarek awaits beyond these gates. The master meets with the demon from the mausoleum, hatching plots of purest evil. Forgotten nobodies would be wise to make themselves scarce.
And we walk through this door, and we done, guys. We finished. Now we can pre-order or exit, and I guess that's a good time to leave it. I don't really have that much more to say about it. I'm very happy with how this is turning out. Definitely not up to the quality of the previous PS1 remakes, but only by like a hair. Only by like maybe 2%, you know? It's really damn close. And it's something that I never thought I would see. Such a special game being revisited. Really just brings a tear to my old, decrepit eyes. And that's it for me, I guess. That's all game we've got, so I'll see you guys next time on another Sacred Symbols Let's Play, and I'll see you guys next time on Sacred Symbols. Take care, guys!